In 2010, a little bakery decided to bypass a system controlled by brokers and corporate supply chains by going directly to the source, the farmer.
When I started this project, people told me that it couldn't be done. But here at our bakery, both NatureBake and Dave's Killer Bread, we have a history of doing things that can't be done.
NatureBake was founded in 1955 by James Dahl, an early pioneer in the healthy baking industry. The bakery soon became a family venture as his wife, Juanine, and children, Glenn, Dave, Linda, and Al joined in. Later, James's nephew, Alan, joined the business, as did Glenn's son, Shobi, and Dave's daughter, Jessica. 55 years after its founding, the bakery is still committed to innovation. NatureBake's new groundbreaking bread, Oregon Grains, is made with 95% of its ingredients grown and processed within 100 miles of the bakery.
It takes somebody like NatureBake to process our raw material into a consumer's product.
They told me they can grow hard red wheat, oats, they can grow flax. I said I can turn that into bread. And later that year, we had a bread on the shelf.
With NatureBake, their breads get our grain out to the public.
It all started in 2009 on a drive through the southern Willamette Valley.
I had just read a blog that a reporter had written saying how she was doing this 100-mile diet for a month and she couldn't eat bread because there was no 100-mile bread around. And me being a bread baker, I think to myself, that's what I do. How can I fill this need? So I started calling all of my ingredient brokers, the mills, everybody I could think of saying, you know, can you guys find me some stuff that's grown within 100 miles? And they all came back and said, nope, we don't know anybody. We can't help you with that. There wasn't much I could do at that point. It's not like you can go into the yellow pages and say, you know, call 1-800-FARMER and find your local farmer to grow you wheat. So what eventually happened a few months later is Willow from Stalford called me just like cold out of the blue and said, hey, I got local wheat, you want to buy it? And I said, yes. So she came up with a bunch of the farmers from her collaborative, the Willamette Seed and Grain. You know, I asked them, you know, what can you grow for me? And they told me we can grow wheat, we can grow flax, and we can grow oats. And I said, that's perfect, that's a loaf of bread right there. And that's where we got started with the Oregon Grains bread.
So why isn't all bread made with local ingredients?
I grew up on a family farm in Minnesota, and in the 50s and early 60s, everything was done locally. We ate the local food, we knew everybody, we knew where our food was coming from, and it was just, there was no question about the integrity or the quality of the food. Historically, the Willamette Valley's been filled with small farms that were producing fruits and vegetables distributed locally. That's all changed. The fruits and vegetables became commercialized for canneries, so the farms have gotten bigger. As the farmers retire, then they're consolidating, the processing is consolidating, and everything has been very commercialized and very commodified, I guess. And then in the 80s, the price for grains disappeared, so we became a grass seed capital of the world. In the process, then, the farmers have been trying to figure out what to do with the land now that they need to diversify. So we're trying to diversify again, and there's more and more interest in getting back to the local food system, so we're here in the 50s.
What NatureBake is doing for us is allowing us to look ahead. What happens traditionally in the commodities market is that wheat is at its highest in the spring when you're planting, and everybody's all excited and they plant everything. And then when you come to harvest, it's at its lowest price of the year because you have to sell it because we don't have any storage.
Missing pieces in this through the years has been storage, distribution, and processing. And that's an issue of economy of scale.
We can't piece it out a pallet at a time. We have to be selling this stuff in large quantities.
NatureBake's providing a very important customer for these farmers so that they know that they have an outlet to grow these ingredients.
And if NatureBake is willing to pay what we cost to grow, then we have a steady price across the board instead of the spikes and falls.
and because NatureBake is willing to stand behind us by providing a stable market.
NatureBake is providing a vital link to these farmers. Knowing they can sell their grains locally means growers can invest in Willamette Valley production and distribution systems.
We see it as job creation.
Our partnership with NatureBake gets the producer to the consumers. It's just a win-win situation for both of us, I think. And the sandwiches are tasting a lot better.
And we want to have that direct contact with the local farmers so that they will have a place to sell their crop once it's harvested.
And to have a bakery that's committed to taking organic materials and making them into a really good product that the customers will actually buy, it's incredible.
And to know that it's using locally grown crops, locally grown grains, that makes the bread taste even better.
So this was the first time you ever tried the bread?
Yes, it was.
What did you think about it?
Well, I had to come back and ask which one it was. I wasn't paying attention until I ate it. It was so good I had to find out.
It's like first time on
camera. This is the first time trying it.
Sweet, but your mom's tried it.
Yeah, so I didn't know that it was all from Oregon. That's awesome. We love to support local. Yeah, we love to support local. Yeah, that's really good. Is this butter and honey or just butter? Oh, wow.
There's honey in it.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that's really good. I'm talking with my mouth open.
It's okay.
Wow, it tastes pretty good.
I like the flavor of it. I like the texture of it especially. Like I say, it's good to find a whole grain bread with lots of good stuff in it that has a nice, pleasing texture.
It just makes sense to have more locally sourced ingredients. Oregon Grains is the first step in that direction.
Sourcing 95% of the ingredients within 100 miles of the bakery, having them produced right down the street.
Used to be unheard of.
Yeah.
So far, the Oregon Grains Project has helped transition 500 acres in the Willamette Valley from grass seed to grain. A single acre can grow enough wheat to make 2,000 loaves of bread each year.
You know, we need somebody to help push this thing through, and Dave's Killer Bread and NatureBake and the combination of everybody working together, hopefully somebody will see this and say, hey, these guys got something good going here. Let's see what we can do to come in and give them a hand.
And keeping it local significantly reduces the carbon footprint from over 1,000 trucking miles to less than 100, eliminating 90% of emissions from the transportation of ingredients. The end result is every 7,000 loaves of Oregon Grains bread saves 2,000 pounds of CO2 emissions.
From Dave's Killer Bread to now the innovation of Oregon Grains, we're all just continuing my dad's work.
He was a pioneer.
And that is something that really feels good to me.
Indeed.
NatureBake and Dave's Killer Bread bakes over 15 million loaves of bread each year. Their commitment to sourcing local grains will help transform the face of farming in the Willamette Valley. But this is just the beginning.
Well, our bakery has really always just been about making the best bread possible and doing it in the best ways possible. That's what I really hope that I can carry forth into the next generation of the bakery, is that commitment to these fabulous whole grain breads, this commitment to innovation, commitment to pioneering new areas in the baking industry. I hope that I can add half as much as my grandfather, my father, and my Uncle Dave have added to the industry.